hello, and welcome to TJ Speaks. I am your host, TJ. On tonight's show, we are going to be discussing what's going on in America. What's going on inside of America? It seems as if those that are hired to represent the American citizens are not exactly doing such things. They're not exactly working for the American people. And so that brings me to the topic of today, the headline. The next battle is stopping those in Congress that count illegal migrants as their constituents, undermining the power of the US citizen. So that's where we're going to begin today. All right. Um it has recently it came to my knowledge for quite a while, but recently with the migrant surge and the responses of our Congress representatives, it became very clear that the Congress does not represent the voters, the citizens of these United States. For some reason, well, I know the reason, but for nefarious reasons, our congressmen and women are at complete odds with the voters. And so I'd like to touch on that. We're going to be discussing that today. All right. And so let's begin with this. Illegal immigration, it became political when they filled out the census. See, guys, that's where this story begins. This story begins back in the 1960s, 1965 Immigration Act, when black ADOS citizens were fighting for civil rights as United States citizens. We know about Jim Crow. Jim Crow was struck down by the Supreme Court as being unconstitutional and a violation of the 14th Amendment Equal Protections Clause. And from that moment on, immediately in response, the Democrat Party, which was the party that wrote the Jim Crow laws, the party that did all of the KKK and the lynching, that party immediately went to action under President JFK. JFK and Lyndon B. Johnson immediately drew up a bill, the Immigration Act of 1965. Although JFK was assassinated, that bill still continued on and became law. Okay, 1965 Immigration Act. And in that bill, I noticed, because now we have the privilege of hindsight, JFK and the Democrats increased the number of visas given out to different countries around the world. But what they did not increase was the number of enforcements. Okay? And you don't have to be a genius to realize if a person is coming from a country that's very poor, you give them a visa to come here on vacation in the richest nation in the world, you will never get that person to leave voluntarily. But I think that was the exact response that JFK and the Democrat Party was looking for. Because it boils down to this one thing. The Democrats never wanted to represent the black citizens. What Martin Luther King was fighting for, at that time, even Jesse Jackson was a young man. You had Malcolm X. They were fighting for equal protection as United States citizens. That's all they were asking for. And for 100 years, after Lincoln freed the slaves and Congress wrote the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments for the freedmen to bring them into the fold as United States citizens, the Democrat Party has been working to undermine that citizenship since then. And so here we are today. Fast forward another 60 years. Here we are, 2023. And we're facing the same Democrat Party. but a different method of madness. The Democrat Party new method, because they do not respect or want to honor the promise of the Constitution to the black citizens. They are suddenly advocates for illegal migrants. Migrants that look opposite to black in many cases. Many of the migrants mirror white people, okay? Um, and you have to wonder why. The black people, only black people can be subjected to something like this. You live in a country, you work in a country, you obey the laws, you pay the taxes, you vote, your Congress representatives, they go to work in um, Washington, D.C., but then they do not work for you. And that's what the black citizens have to be subjected to today. In 2023, the black voters have representatives in Congress and in their districts that do not work for them. And this is becoming abundantly clear to a lot of black ADOS foundational Americans that the people that we send to Congress decided we're not worthy enough to represent. They are flat out blatantly working for a foreign group of people that never paid one dime in taxes or did not follow one law. And that to me is the root of this illegal immigration, the root of the discrimination and the bias. And it all started in the black community. And yes, this problem is affecting all communities right now. All American communities are being affected right now, but I want to make it clear that this problem began in the black community because the Democrat Party has been flooding the black community with illegal people for many decades. And they have been counting these people on the census in order to uh, grab a larger share of the congressional seats. That's what's been going on for the past 60 years, since 1965. And I got to tell you guys, our life in New York City is a living hell. We cannot enjoy our lives. We cannot enjoy our community. We are constantly being bombarded with other people problems. They have overwhelmed us financially, our resources, our community. We can't live in peace. These people often come here with their own racist bias, be beliefs and behaviors. When they see a black citizen, they do not respect black people. So they come into your neighborhood, they throw trash in your ground. They commit crime in your neighborhood. They don't feel that you deserve to be in America. They don't feel that you deserve to have respect. And that's what's happening today. Our lives are living hell. I had to drive, for example, because the Democrat Party gave the illegal immigrants the right to drive. And they did not consult their citizens, by the way. They did this all on their own. The politicians act without the consent of the voters, without the consent of the citizens all the time in the black community. They gave the illegal immigrants, against the will of the citizens, the right to drive. And what happened? Boom. Traffic is outrageous. 2 hours to go a 20-minute drive. And that's what's going on. So you have to wonder, who does your representatives, who do they work for? Because that's at the heart of what's happening today. Who does these representatives work for? You have AOC comes out and she claims that she represents the illegal migrants. She doesn't claim to represent black citizens at all. 0% does she consult the black citizens of Queens. Zero. And I gotta say, it was quite diabolical and genius to dissect and disconnect the voter from the constituency. Congressional districts are made up of people, the constituents. Under normal circumstances, under a normal rule of law, the constituents are the voters. But in today's world, with Joe Biden and the Democrats and all of their 50 million illegal immigrants, they are building a constituency. They cannot vote. They have decided who they are going to represent. It's not that the voters are getting the say in how their government is run. The politicians have decided who they was going to represent. And they decided they don't want to represent the black citizens. So they have flooded our communities for the past 65 years. Since 1965, all of the undocumented people. And allowed these people to break the law, to do whatever they want to do. But now it's coming to a head where more and more people are realizing this is not right. This is unlawful. This is unsustainable. So that's pretty much what I have to say for today. It's very sad. It's very sad to live in a country that would do anything not to do right by you. From slavery time, they disrespected the black citizens, well, the black people, treating them inhumane. Fast forward 100 years of Jim Crow. 1965, we've been flooded with illegal immigrants. And what a lot of Americans don't realize is that we didn't have a baby boom. America did not have a baby boom from 1965 until now. So where are we getting our population, according to the census, has increased 140%, which is humanly impossible for any population to increase 140%. So right now we're living in a lawless America, and it's not much. It's something that we can do. We have one more shot at this. The black people have one more chance to actually stand up for themselves and not vote for the party that historically has basically hated you to the end of the earth. The Democrat Party is literally not representing you, and you're paying a paycheck. You're writing the paychecks for the Democrats, and they are not working for you at all. And it's time for all Americans to realize that this is rooted in racism, and this is rooted in a non-constitutional republic. We're living outside of the U.S. Constitution at this moment in time, September of 2023. And it's not a happy place. The only one that's happy is the people that get to break the law and impose themselves on other people. But the citizenship of America has no value at this point in time. And we shall see. To be continued. Anyway, that's it for tonight's show. I hope you enjoy it. I am exhausted. Like I said, I don't get a chance to enjoy my community. I don't get to enjoy the restaurants. Everything is crowded. We don't get a chance to take advantage of the opportunity that's supposed to be here in America for us, the U.S. citizens. We have been overwhelmed, overworked, and overburdened. So we got another chance, probably our last chance, election of 2024, and to correct the census of 2030. That's the two things that's going to be on the agenda. Anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.